Shubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Shibenta ban pen orlong ya ka jingkwa jong ki patba jong ka Mawlai ban Weng no ya ka jakasa jong ki Crpf na Mawlai hne ka step kala don ka jingi kandu ka Crpf hapreng menteri rang ba ka jalau Conrad sangma UMDC ka Mawlai ba tebor lang pathau u DGP ka jala Meghalaya u Dr LR Bishnoi ka IGP jong ka Crpf ka Sonal V Mishra ki he pulet jong ka district bat ki rang ba snong jong ka Mawlai ki nong snong bat ki we Habakran na kani ka jingalang menteri rang ba ulaong ba kani ka jaka ka dejong ka arts and culture bala IT siya ki Crpf bakin pendan kam na kabantaban pet ya ka syongsok syongsan ulaong ru ba hapreng jong ka jingdon jong kani ka ktem ha kani ka jaka kidan ki jingkwa bat ki mat ki bagi nong syong ki thrang man pen kan ria no ya ka hapreng ka jingakran jong ka sarkar ka snong bat ki he jong ka Crpf ha kini ki snam bala dab ka kam kalaya chakmat bat menta ka badangsa ka de satang ka Jingmynjur jong ka MHA Ula ongru bagi Crpf ki terang bandon la ka jong ka jaka bakin la ban pen kan ria suki-suki ki sipai jong ki na ki khtam ki ba ka sarkar ka ai shipor ula banrap da ka baong hapadeng ka jing terang jong ka sarkar ban pen kan ria ya secretariat chakawai pat ka jaka ban palat na ka jing khap nya ka nong ba shalong ula ya thuru bagi yeng sa jong ki menteri sarkar bat ki wei ki he sarkar ru kin sa pen kan ria no bat la da ka khtam Crpf ka don hang tu kan nong ka bayo Jingmyntoy shibun habaya dei ba ka sukusan na ka liang ka IGP Meghalaya ka Sonal V Mishra Kalai tho baning kong tang khandiat ki sipai Crpf kidan banwan ya khun persai kamle no ha kitu gi por hanrei menta kala don arteli ki kunhon kata ha shalong bat hatura ki sipai Crpf ki de ki badan mentalang bat ki pulet ka jela bante la kam yak syongsok syongsan ha ka jela sho kalai tho ru bakani ka khtam sipai kala don kumba sau pos nem tam ha kani ka jaka kabala ai sipor da ka sarkar kala ai khublei yaw menteri rangba ubala petlam ya ka jing e ka bakia kandu Kalau ongru bada ka jingdon ka jaka bapura kan penlong yeki bikin la ban kilan met bha bat kin la ru ban syong pansa kat kum karukom ka badai
because of the camp so there was always so I think it's the small things I think these are very cute so we can utilize this in fact we can start a program having
so in fact we'll be more than happy to be part of it
it's really good
use of Pakistan was enough just imagine this type of asset that we have
there's a school there
school there
that school is part of this
no it's outside
so this land is blank here this side
these are that one they have quarters and all
service to the state and we need to engage in a process and we're here to describe that and to explain to you all and to take everyone into confidence so that everyone is clear as to what is the steps that the government is willing to take to to balance this interest of keeping the CRPF also and also ensuring that this place that has been used by the CRPF for so many years, which is by the Art and Culture Department, is also utilized for that purpose, keeping the future in mind.
And this land was a land that was that belonged to the Art and Culture Department, and the temporary setup that was made continued for decades. And while the CRPF is a very integral part of the entire law and order situation and overall law and order arrangements that we have for the state, there are of course overall concerns and the fact that they never were given a permanent site led to this temporary site becoming kind of a long-term permanent location for the CRPF. And the purpose for which this land was initially identified could never be ultimately taken up. So in between all of this, there have been some concerns and some issues that have been raised up by the locality also. And time and again there have been different situations where the entire situation got a bit strained, I should say. And hence this has been going on and on for many months, many years and decades, I'm sorry. So therefore, after discussion with a lot of the local leadership, local MDC, and with the Rangbashnongs, and of course with the CRPF and the police department and the home department, we figured out how to, we discussed and we tried to figure out how we could kind of find a solution to this entire kind of a situation in a phase-wise manner, where we could have more or less a win-win situation for everyone. And that's when this discussion, almost about a year and a half back, we started a discussion with all the stakeholders that were involved. And while we went forward, the CRPF had requested and said that for so many years, the CRPF has been giving dedicated service to the state, and hence they've always wanted a permanent location, but the state government was never able to give them a permanent location. And hence the discussion started with that if a permanent location is given, then for CRPF also it makes complete sense to slowly and steadily shift most of their different companies which are present in different parts of Shillong city and put them in a permanent site. And of course the normal deployment of manpower for normal law and order situations are there, which is bare minimum. But the overall place and the overall camp would be something then that would shift to a permanent location. And hence we felt that, and we realized that if that is done, then we will be able to ensure that most of the areas in which the CRPF presence is there, and they are in all different locations scattered, all in temporary locations, all in very dilapidated conditions. And even CRPF is in a way facing a lot of challenges and difficulties because the living conditions in these camps also are not that good. So hence, it made a lot of sense to then finally figure out on how we could give a permanent location, and then we would construct, and of course CRPF would construct a proper camp and proper stay and barracks and everything for their manpower, which would be of course something that would be a win-win situation for them. And at the same time, the shifting of the camps from these locations would then allow the government to take up more different kind of important social activities, cultural activities, youth-related activities in those localities where the camps were present, and utilize those lands for different kind of productive purposes for the state and the people. And hence this entire exercise started. And at the same time, we as a government, we have been working towards figuring out how we can decongest the city in the long run. And we have felt that the only way to, in the medium and short and the long run, to be able to decongest the city is to shift the entire government machinery and the secretariat away from the main Shillong part. And hence the process of a new administrative city, also the discussion started in that line. And after looking at different locations and different areas, even purchasing a lot of land also in order to build it up, we realized that it cannot be too far away from the current city also. So therefore, some plans were made to shift it to Mopadang area and way out in the side of the bypass of Shillong. And though we can shift some bigger offices in terms of offices of different agencies and departments, but the main secretariat will have to be somewhere closer. And hence then again the process started of us looking at identifying areas and lands where we could then finally shift the secretariat and the main offices and also the main bungalows of officials, of ministers, MLAs, somewhere that is closer to Shillong but away from Shillong, and somewhere which is closer to the new assembly and the new Shillong township, which is already coming up. And hence the process of actually then looking at the lands available with the government of Meghalaya, the process started. And we realized after studying the entire map that if we are able to mix and match and shift certain areas, take certain lands from certain departments back, give other departments land in some other location, we were able to come up with a land of contiguous land of about 150 acres and another plot of about 90 acres just next to the IIM Shillong. So in IIM would be in the center, and on both sides there was 150 acre on the left side and about 90 acres on the right side. So that's about 240 acres land was identified where we could possibly shift the secretariat and the main offices. And hence we went to the location, we saw the location, all from security point of view and everything. We further went on to realize that while we are looking at land for the CRPF, hence in this 240 acres of government land, where we are planning to shift the secretariat and the different government official bungalows, that the CRPF, if it is in that location, so hence, as I said, the secretariat will be there, all the government major departments, offices will be there, and the Chief Minister's bungalow, all the other ministers' bungalows, all the senior officials' bungalows will be there, right there next to it, that if CRPF comes in, then from a security aspect also, then it makes a lot of sense. So when we look at these three areas, the concerns of Mawlai and the people of Mawlai area, and the fact that this land is something that is meant for art and culture purpose and for the youth, then looking at the fact that CRPF requires a permanent location, and hence we need to give them a permanent location, which they have not got for a long time. And if you look at the fact that the government of Meghalaya is planning to shift the secretariat away from Shillong city, closer to Shillong, but not really within Shillong, and this area of 240 acres being there, if these three aspects were to be connected, then the whole picture comes out in front of you. And with this kind of a move, we are actually having a win-win situation for everybody, from the government to CRPF, and obviously to the people of Mawlai and Shillong city as a whole. So this is really what is working out, and this is the master plan of the whole thing, which took us about a year and a half to do. And that's the reason why we could not immediately come out with a solution earlier. But I'm happy to share this with you, that this is the master plan, and the process of doing all of this has started now. And we are hopeful that in the days to come, we will slowly and steadily start the process of actual shifting and create some investments here. We are just after this meeting, we'll be going just behind and seeing the amphitheater out there. And the Honorable MDC has requested that if government can invest and renovate this amphitheater, and we could slowly start having activities out here, that'll be good. So I will just go and check the location. And more importantly, our plan is to ensure that while we do that, we want to ensure that in this property, which is meant for art and culture, we would like to see that in the future, some programs like museums about the art and culture of our state should come up here. But also at the same time, since it's a huge plot, we are very keen to have programs of skill development. We're very keen to have programs of Prime, which is an entrepreneurship program that we have. So we plan to have a Prime hub out here, which would then allow the entrepreneurs who would like to open their own businesses to also get the guidance that they deserve. At the same time, there is also a discussion with different stakeholders that if you can have small scale industries, units also coming up here, like call centers, which are coming up in other parts of the city, especially in the IT park. So all these are being examined, but we will see which one will fit in. But the entire idea will be to create some kind of a youth center, and and activities related to the youth, more importantly, and to culture. And of course, we will discuss with the headmans and with local representatives before we take a final decision on which activities would be most desirable by the people of the locality and the area. But while we say that, obviously, as a government, law and order also is something that we can't compromise on. And it's important that the government has presence of the law and order machinery, and therefore there will be that presence in the required numbers in different areas that are there, which of course we will work out. Those areas and numbers are not with me right now, but we cannot compromise on law and order also. So therefore, law and order will be an integral part of the entire plan and policy and the strategy we'll take. But as I said, the overall picture of this particular plot and ensuring that we're able to utilize this in the best manner for the benefit of the people, that will of course be taken forward. But as I said, factors like time, how to move forward in it, ensuring that the land is immediately has been handed over. They have to take permission from MHA as to approve it. So that process is taking some time, but we expect that it should be done very, very soon. And of course, then we have to also see the infrastructure that the CRPF will have to create in order to shift the manpower that is required to be shifted. So all these plans have to be worked out in the short run and the medium, short term and the medium term. And those areas are something that, of course, we cannot give a specific date that will happen on this day or that day. But of course, we will see that slowly. We will see that some of the manpower that is there in those areas also, they will require some people to shift. So we will see that process also happening. I would like to, of course, remind all of you that this has been something that has been here for like 40 years plus, almost 44 years. I was told it came in 1978. So that's 44 years back. And hence, it is not something that can happen like overnight. So the plans and the programs are in place, and we are already working towards ensuring that this does go to its logical conclusion. But I request that everybody should work together. We need the cooperation of everybody to make this possible and to ensure that there is a win-win situation for everyone. And at this point in time, I would like to thank Madam Sonal Mishra ji, our IG, who has been very, very cooperative in this entire discussion. And without her involvement and without her stand and the entire support that she gave, I don't think we'd be able to come to this point.
As Sir mentioned, we have been at this location particularly and in Shillong for the last more than 40 years in varying strengths. Initially it was a very small strength which came here for some matter not related to Meghalaya actually, but it was for the counter-insurgency ops at that time that a small component had come here, and gradually it grew to 2 battalions, one in Shillong and the other in Garo Hillside. And particularly for this location, for more than 40 years, the companies, as Sir mentioned, have been located in temporary accommodations provided by the state government at various points in the city. And it has been our endeavor to give the best service possible to the people of Shillong and to the people of Meghalaya and the Garo Hills also. So I am extremely grateful to the Meghalaya administration, to the Honorable CM personally, for understanding this predicament of the CRPF, which has been here for so many years, and the conditions in which our Jawans have been living and providing and performing their duties to the best, as well as maintaining that balance and support to the state police at each police station level, which the state police requires from us as and when it is desired, and even on a day-to-day basis, most importantly in Shillong city. So with this, I am extremely grateful to Honorable CM for having understood this point and also taking into consideration the long-standing request of the local residents for a better utilization of this premises, which happens to be the Department of Art and Culture, and how best we can locate our personnel for round-the-clock duty which is required, as well as how best we can give them the desired standard for living. As you could understand, this is the central force, and our Jawans are desired to maintain a basic standard of fitness, and we actually need a basic, a minimum campus for the entire their training, for their round-the-clock physical fitness modules, and several other things which is a basic requirement actually. And this land, sir, which is being provided, it will definitely help the CRPF, our battalion here, to establish itself in a much better manner, which will have its own campus, its own training infrastructure will come over there, because that is a basic requirement, and it will help decongest, as you mentioned, a lot of areas in the city, and at the same time the component which is desired in the city for various duties would continue to stay on. So it will definitely be a win-win situation, as sir has mentioned, and I thank the residents of the area who have extended their support all through even the difficult times actually. And there has been a kind of balance between the presence of a central force here, at the same time the residents, and the area has been peaceful. Being the road, being the national highway towards Guwahati, it has been a very important road actually, and so it is our endeavor to keep this balance, to maintain the presence, to maintain the law and order, and at the same time we gradually shift to the new land which is provided as in when we get an approval, which is already underway in the process and is being processed, which would take some time to set up, of course. It is in process with the MHA, and it would take of course some time to establish, but the gradual process of our troops moving to their own location is really something that is we are thankful to the Home Department, to the State Police, and to the Honorable CM for coming up with this solution and allotting us a permanent place. So
we take joy in that, not because we ridiculed anything about the CRPF camp. It's about, the relationship between the community and the people, which is still in transition. You understand that time will come when people will begin to realize, how to adapt and adjust to the concept of nation. As of now, we're still growing. So you understand you're also part and parcel of a social transformation that's going on in our state, among the people, among the tribes, among the community. And as leaders and representatives of the community, we are trying to best also to balance, as the Chief Minister said, between the community and the government and the nation at large. And this process is going on, and we understand that due to many cultural changes, it's not so easy for the common man to really adapt to that. Of course, that has waned down a lot from over the years when you see those events of 1979, 1987, 1992. Over years, things have really settled down a bit, but the dust has not really settled fully. And we hope that the shifting of the camp is not an act of descendants against the CRPF camp, CRPF people. It's a way of how to replace this place with something for the people, for the community. I thank the CM for again and again taking the task of informing us, which is not necessary actually, because at this level he could do things according to his own sweet will, according to his own pleasure, seeing the positivity of what he acts. But through his intervention, because of his close relationship with the community, he has been informing us through the MDC along with the headman, and we take so much joy, sir, of your ability to make a contact with the grassroots level.
Gisutu pakani klade ka jing angnut jongki paiba jong snong Mawlai na du snam kat kanai spa nyup khandai hang bede bak jing don jong CRPF hagni ka jaka kumang lakran na kini ki CRP bangin don ye ka basni unang tak jongki henreng sukwa tangba kandan ka jaka ka babiang ka bala ban pentrekam hak tak rukam makan lo jing toy na kapta ka jaka jongi ni community ba kani ka jing sim khia jok sarkar ban pentrekam no ban pen orlong no ya kini ka jing thumu ka bangi lathumu ngatharai hagni ki banai ki ban sawan hagni ki por ki ban sawan na kalyang jok sarkar ko matle hi ka khlem song ti kala trekam hi kala ya chachat ke jekran nri ki paiba ngi habar sutu tang ko ba gini bar khat ki khambam ne ka por khindiat namar kadan ka procedure hakam hagwede ba kam jok sarkar ni community ba kani ka jing thumu pa jok sarkar kan sa orlong sem ya ka ba kani ka caka ka salong ka caka ka Crpf na ka benta jongi teng community ba hakani ka step ni ai khulai Crpf yo siam baron brom jongi ubalawan hakani ka caka yu kjat ka constituency jongi banwan pet hi ra jong ka khamat hagwede ka jingdon jokni ka kamba ke gi jing toy ki bala banwara la shan dala penkria dia kini ki parlok CRPF na kani ka jaka ka banlok ka jing toy nam ta jongi.